911 operators of Reddit, what is the stupidest reason that someone has ever called? July 1996, a dust storm blew in and at least 20 people called 911 to report aliens. Yes, the dust storm did look exactly like the one in the movie Independence Day that was just released. No, aliens were not invading. Firefighter here. Here are a few actual calls we have been called to. Popcorn in the eye. Ghost in the attic. Possible smoke in the house. Turns out the caller was crying, which made things blurry, so they thought it was smoke. Adult with leg stuck in laundry chute. Caller dropped a cigarette on the garage floor and didn't know what to do. Fried chicken was too dry. Leg through the floor while on the toilet.
Oh my God!
Here in the UK, someone called the emergency services because he couldn't find the TV remote.
I can't find the remote! Can anybody help me?
Police dispatch in the UK. Had someone call in because two squirrels were fighting in her back garden. No, we don't arrest squirrels. On a similar vein, had a recent immigrant call, had a strange and deadly creature in the back garden. On arrival, turns out to be a hedgehog. Also had woman hysterically call in about a snake in her toilet. Turned out to be a big poo.
Poke, poke.
Ow! Paramedic here. At the height of lockdown in the UK, I was sent to a lady who called for an emergency ambulance as her sex drive was too high. Also on my list of stupid calls, guy in his late 30s who burned his tongue on a baked potato. Someone who has had pain in their knee for 30 years, decided at 3 a.m. that this was the time to get it sorted. A man in his 40s who had a nightmare. A guy who thought he might feel unwell later. Man who scratched his testicle in the night with his long fingernail. No blood.
I was at my friend Kelly Papadopoulos' wedding, okay? I share a glass of ouzo with this guy named Janos. 20 minutes later, I'm in a cab. I gotta ask the guy to pull over because I'm gonna explode in some guy's rose garden. Now, what would you think?
Same thing I think right now. That you got yourself a bad case of the wish you were six.
Yeah, well, I read the symptoms on the internet, okay? I have yaba.
I work in the ER, so I'm on the receiving end of some dumb 911 calls. Most recent was a guy who shows up via ambulance at 1 a.m. because he twisted his ankle 3 days ago and it still hurts. The medic who brought him in was not amused.
You're a pussy.
Honestly, it's hard to pick. We get silly calls every day that tie up our lines because people think a personal emergency or inconvenience is a life/death emergency. Here are a few recent ones. Mom turned off the internet because he was failing math class. Wanted us to force mom to turn on the internet. Neighbor's porch light was green and it was not a holiday and they thought this should be illegal. The hooker he didn't pay stole his crack as payment and he wanted to report the theft. There was a burro, wild donkey, in their campsite in the desert and wanted someone to remove it. They ran out of gas on the highway and didn't want to pay the fee to their insurance/tow truck. Wanted us to tell the tow truck to gas them up for free. Neighbor was parked crooked in their own driveway and caller wanted them ticketed for unsightly parking. Of course, the classic McDonald's is out of chicken nuggets type calls.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop, man. What? Close that man. God damn. Oh my God. What's this bitch on? Holy shit.
What's going on? Did she like get burned by her apple pie or something?
Dude, I have no idea. Alright, we need to call the police. This is out of control. Holy shit.
I knew a woman who was a drug dealer. She was a friend of some friends. Not my sort of person to hang around. One day she decided to rob another drug dealer, who then went to the police to report the robbery. They both ended up in jail.
Okay, thank you for joining me. Here's what happened. I went outside to get a sandwich. I come back, my door's wide open, all my weed is gone.
I'm sorry, did you say all your weed is gone?
Come on, Crockett. Don't tell me you don't know what weed is, man. Pot, reefer, marijuana.
I'm the one who called. I got lost in a hotel in the middle of the night after hooking up with some dude and ended up in their inner courtyard with everything locked. The receptionist told me he couldn't find me and to call the cops. They had to get me out of there. So embarrassing. First thing I did when they picked up was apologize.
I'm done arguing with you. I'm gonna end this.
5. This is 5.
Ignore the siren. Even if you leave this room, you can never leave this room.
I was the one who had to call 911 for this, but close enough for Reddit. I was working with an idiot who one day took note that if he shot his steel toe boot on the steel toe with a nail gun that said nail would curve around the steel toe. And this worked out for him for a while till that pesky erosion and metal fatigue thing happened and the nail went through and nailed his foot to a door frame. So being the youngest person on the crew, I got picked to make the call, and that was when I found out that there is no way to express the stupidity such as that without sounding like you are making it up. They did send an ambulance and a few officers, and at first they thought we might have done it to him, but after they did an investigation and looked through our lockers, they found that he was keeping a collection of pics of huge that he took, and they just kinda noped out of there. And somehow 20 years later he is still alive and now working as a safety supervisor for a large trucking company.
Just the nail. Ooh. Just the nail, not my boot.
Come on. Cleveland. Be easy now and quick about it, dog it. Ooh, yeah. Lord have mercy.
It's fine, it's not that bad. It didn't catch me.
Yank it, West Cleveland. Yank it. Yeah, get a good hold.
Woo!
Pull it,
Move your thumb out of the way.
You can't twist it.
Ah!
Obligatory, not an operator, but here in the UK a guy called the police repeatedly as a UFO was hovering over his house at about the same time every night. The operator asked him to go outside and describe what he was seeing. About halfway through the description, the penny drops and the caller admits that the glowing UFO is quite possibly the moon.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
I had one call on Thanksgiving that their oven was locked and they could not get their turkey out. It was really busy that night and we instructed them to turn the oven off and we could head over when we could.
But the fire department came, the police came, the forestry came.
Because you burned a turkey.
I did not burn the goddamn turkey.
Had someone call in screaming that they were on fire. Sounded legit. I've heard a lot of different screams, including another of someone actually on fire, and this one sounded like one of those I'm actually dying screams. I tried everything I could to get them to calm down, stop, drop and roll, literally anything, but she just kept screaming. When the fire department eventually got there, she calmed down and I was able to hear her tell them that her crotch was on fire after she had sex with her neighbor.
Hi, Port Clinton Police. Yes, I need the fire department, please, because my pussy's on fire. I need to make sure that hose is working. Hello? Is that hose working? What is on fire? I need the fire department because my pussy's on fire, and I need somebody to come put it out with their hose.
My mom was the one that called. It was the middle of the night and just me. I was 15, female, and her home at the time, dad out of town, and someone kept ringing our doorbell for 20+ men. We were scared it was someone trying to get us to open the door so they could break in since it was 12 a.m. Mom calls 911, cops come. Turns out it was our neighbor trying to tell us that our garage door was open. The police were just like, how about you guys exchange cell phone numbers for the future? Pretty embarrassing.
Get the off my porch! Get your ass off this motherfucking porch,
My cousin works as an operator and he really hasn't had any stupid stories, but one time he got a call from a woman who was absolutely livid, just legitimately hyperventilating and shit. She said that there was a group of terrorists walking around her apartment block and stabbing people. Since this is happening in a tiny Polish town, like 5 police cars show up. It was just some Turkish dude sitting at a bus stop.
You mind your own call!
Caller believed his neighbor's jack-o'-lanterns were carved suspiciously.
Yo, why is he looking at me like that? What's up, little bud? Got a staring problem, pal?
Like what, dude? He's just looking at you. He's a baby.
Look at his face. Dumb little face.
Stop.
Yo, Zan, get your boy, dog.
Former dispatcher here, and these are some of the ones that stand out. Called to ask what time it is, wanted someone to pray the rosary with, wanted hot firemen to come over, and so many things stuck in butts.
I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass.
Bit late to the party, but I am a 911 operator, so I've got that going for me. My personal favorite was the guy that called in because there was a raccoon in a tree in his yard. It should be noted that I dispatched for a low-density county and medium-density small city. Me: sir, what is it doing? Is it acting aggressive? Raccoon guy: no, he's just in my yard. Me: so what is the issue, what do you want done? Raccoon guy: I want someone to come get it. It shouldn't be here. Me: sir, raccoons live in trees. Raccoon guy: but I live in the city.
Hey!
Wasn't a 911 operator but worked with all types of emergency management while working command post in the military, and we got notified of all emergency responses, 911 calls, criminal activity, etc. I have many stories of idiots who called, but a couple of them were just f***ing stupid lol. One time during the winter the cops got a call from a guy on base who got his car stuck in a snowdrift and needed help getting it out. The cops send a car out there to help, and soon as the guy sees them he takes off running. So they chased him down, and turns out the dude was drunk, blew a .28 I believe. The f***tard called the cops on himself for running into a snowdrift while driving drunk. Then there was another time we received a call from a lady who said she needed our help locating someone who was kidnapped. She said her son is in the Air Force and he was taken on a spaceship that is currently traveling through the multiverse, and she said they were doing experiments on him. I asked her how she was communicating with him since he was traveling through the multiverse, and she said they were communicating with telepathy. She continued to rant on about it for around 30 minutes without us saying another word before she hung up lol. Had a guy call us saying our planes were flying too low over his farm and making all his cows poop and that we needed to stop flying over. Had a military officer call us saying one of our helicopter flew over and shot some green goo at him and he wanted us to tell the pilot "F you." Good times lol, sometimes I miss it.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Cousin was a 911 operator. Someone called to say they had nail gunned their hand to the wall 4 times. She sent the ambulance and then stayed on the phone with them in case they fainted. Cousin: so, 4 nails? You didn't decide to stop after the first? On phone, I was on a roll.
Jim, you're on a roll.
Am I?
Subscribe to Reddit for more Reddit videos, and also, if you have a funny or bizarre story, leave it in the comments to get featured in a video. Thanks for watching.